And our next public comment is from Marlene Boyd. This is the topic is interpretation services available for schools. And she is commenting live virtually. So Marlene, go ahead and turn your camera on and unmute. You have 3 minutes. Is Marlene Boyd with us? Okay, we can come back to that at the end and we'll see if she's joined us then. Our next is Melissa McDonald. And the topic is pay scale, and this will be a video.
Hello, my name is Monica Heiser. I am a visual art teacher at Connections. I'm the ULR representative. And I'm Melissa McDonald, and I teach English at Connections, and I'm the Bill Prep. We're here today to discuss issues with our pay scale as well as touch on certification, since they both go hand in hand for our conditionally certified teachers. We are presenting testimony from anonymous Connection staff around these issues.
One teacher said, we conditionally certified staff want to be fully certified, and we want a clear handbook and system which includes a one-on-one meeting so each teacher knows the specific clear steps they need to take to become certified. We're told different stories from different district staff. For example, I'm waiting to hear back from Charlotte Douglas and was unaware that she is no longer my certification contact.
For our dance teachers, there's no clear path towards certification.
I feel a sense of anxiety due to not knowing what the pay system will look like in the future. Not knowing the pay system and decertifying it at the same time creates a sense of insecurity and anxiety because we don't know what our future will look like. This mess around pay discourages me from wanting to be a teacher, period. The path needs to be more linear.
What is our incentive to stay if we are unclear about our future pay scale?
Our district is not paying our veteran teachers fairly, considering the hours they work. This is a detriment to our newer staff who rely on them and learn the trade from our veteran staff. It feels like they don't want us to grow professionally, and they want to replace us with first-year teachers.
Conditionally certified teachers feel they should be able to earn a small teacher.
A PSRP chapter member said, if it weren't for teachers, there would be no school. I started teaching in 1997, and there's no way that I would teach now. This is so unfair. This is a slap in the face.
A special educator said, we are so swamped and we need help. We are covering the work of other special educators who left after last year or who are absent. We are not paid for covering classes or special education meetings for other special educators, and at the same time have been given increased preps and caseloads.
We should not have to use our own money to buy classroom supplies.
It is unethical for our board to decertify our pay scale without having a clear plan in place. In what other field or district would this be acceptable?
We need to see clear ways to ascend the pay scale, not descend it. We are in the midst of a teacher shortage, which with such a high rate of attrition, what is the board's backup plan? Our students are already struggling.
Our district is paying money to outside personnel services without providing money to motivate our career teachers to stay.
And all of this goes back to the question, what was the intention of the school board to decertify our pay scale during a high crisis teaching time without a clear plan in place? Was the intention to drive out our experienced staff and create distrust?
We feel it is the responsibility of the board to actively work with the union to meet the needs of staff in Baltimore City through creating competitive pay structures, reflect our hard work and taking. Tell us you value our profession, clear, competitive pay structures.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public comment is from Madeline Monson Rosen. Agenda topic is our AUs and compensation. This will be an email that I will read. Good afternoon or good evening. I am Madeline Monson Rosen. I am an English teacher at Bard High School Early College and the parent of a kindergartner at Patterson Park Public Charter. I am providing comments on the issue of compensation and career pathways for Baltimore City public school teachers. The school board must offer AU guarantees for this year. Teachers are working extra unpaid hours before and after their school days because they want to earn AUs as compensation. However, the district's recent decision to decertify our career ladder without an alternative plan in place means that we are left in the dark about whether our hard work will be compensated. Teachers need guarantees that the extra work we do outside of our regular working hours will be fairly compensated. Teachers feel like the rug is being pulled out from under us again. We feel like our hard work is in danger of being thrown away. This limbo is hitting us hard at a time when morale isn't particularly high to begin with. We don't know what's going to happen to our salaries, and so we don't really know why we should stay on the job. No one in my building is sure what they should do about their AUs, and a consequence of this is no one is really sure if they should stay on the job in Baltimore City. Our most experienced and distinguished teachers have told me that they were ready to go to the county or to private schools. A career pathway is just that, a pathway. You should be able to see your way to professional advancement and the compensation that comes with experience. We have lost that pathway, and now teachers feel like we're fumbling around in the dark. Teachers in Baltimore City have been hit from all sides in recent years, and this is another serious blow to professionalism, to morale, to retention. If Baltimore City wants its most experienced teachers to stay on the job, to get better at our jobs, just to get out for our students, parents, and communities, then Baltimore City has to support us teachers. So, distinguished school commissioners, I ask you again, guarantee our AUs. Show our schools, our kids, and our communities that good teaching and good teachers matter. One more time, guarantee our AUs. Our next public comment, Nathan Farrell, I think it was from BTU. Agenda topic, support of priorities in Annapolis, and this is a video. Tanisha, this is the one that we aren't redoing, correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thanks. Next public comment is Gabrielle Sanchez. Topic, MSDE's school waste reduction and composting grant. This will be a video as well.
Hi, my name is Gabby and I'm with Clean Water Action, and I'm here today to talk about a great grant opportunity called the School Waste Reduction and Composting Grant. The grant provides funding for public schools to develop and implement programs that reduce food waste, as well as establish composting of pre- and post-consumer waste. Grant funds can be utilized to support educational initiatives, infrastructure improvements, training programs, among many other uses. The application can be found on the MSDE website along with the grant information guide. So if you are interested, definitely hop on that opportunity as soon as possible because it is due January 13th. But you can get between $500 and $8,000 to go towards implementing zero waste initiatives, share tables, a composting program. And I will say that I taught in Prince George's County for 8 years. And during my time with them, I helped to spearhead a composting program at one of the schools where I taught. And the kids loved it. We really let them spearhead the whole initiative. They really took charge. One of the things that they loved was doing the waste inventory, where they would go through the trash from lunch, one of the lunch days, and they would sort through, and all of the food waste that they would pull out would go in one pile, and they would pull out recyclables, and then, of course, actual waste. And they loved it. And it's really a great learning opportunity for students. And I know I loved watching them learn, and I loved watching the investment they had in that program. And so if you're a teacher or an administrator or even a parent who, who really wants to see something like this get off the ground, I highly recommend you take a look at the grant program and the information guide and hop on it as soon as possible. Again, I cannot support and say enough about this grant program. I think it's a fantastic opportunity, a great learning opportunity, and of course, a great opportunity for your school to really lead the charge in reducing our overall waste. Again, if you go onto the website, the MSDE website, All the information is there, and again, it's due January 13th, so definitely hop on it. All right, thanks for listening. Have a great one. Bye.
Thank you. I'm just circling back one more time to Marlene Boyd if she has joined us. Go ahead and come on screen. If not, I believe we are finished with public comment. I'll hand it back to you, Chair McFadden.
Thank you very much, Dr. Judkins and our board office team. I want to go back to the items that we pulled, but to our team, based on public comment, to the board, to my colleagues, is there anything that anyone would like to pull additionally? Okay, I want to vote on two items first, both 9.01 and 9.04. Is there a motion to approve item 9.01 and 9.04?
So move. Roberts.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Muhammad.
Thank you, Commissioner Muhammad. All in favor? Vice Chair Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner, colleagues, Commissioner Esposito had to step away, just FYI. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Muhammad?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed? Commissioner Sally?
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington?
Yes.
I'm also in favor. I want to go back to Commissioner Reed. Are you with us? Are you in favor of the two pulled items, 9.01 and 9.04? The motion passes with 8 in favor and 2 absent. I want to go to item 9.02. Is someone able to speak to that? The item around the supplemental appropriation for university partners. We're pulling money from our general fund. Hey, Chief Perkins Cohen, do we have an idea on when we'll get the money back? If you could illuminate, for members of the public, perhaps, why this, how the partnership came to be. If we can do it briefly, I know it already went into committee, but I just want to know, like, are we getting the money back, or are we just putting out the money from our general fund?
Yes. So we, historically, nursing has been provided by the health department. So they've been the provider of record historically for providing nursing. Over the last few years, as there's been a national nursing shortage, it's been harder to fill all the nursing vacancies. And so we have increasingly taken over some more health suites. So last year we had 19 health suites that were under, that we managed. This year we have 35. As part of that effort, as we're taking over more health suites, we've been trying to be creative about how to provide better services and learn more about how to provide higher quality services to young people. So in a city like Baltimore, that's a very university-rich city, it seemed like it made sense to us to try to identify ways that our university partners, who were so helpful to us during the pandemic and were part of our, many of them were part of our health advisory group that advised us during the pandemic about how to interpret, the various guidelines that were coming down from the federal government, that we should reach out to them to figure out if there's ways to provide better services to young people and also help us with, the idea is that they would be good partners in terms of identifying best practice, as well as they could help us staff the suites because they run schools of nursing, and so they have nurses who could help staff them. And then it's also a pipeline development strategy in that the nurses themselves who are going through nursing school, who are working there, might end up deciding that they like being a school-based nurse and they might want to stay. And we are also working with them to create partnerships with our CTE program so that our students could have exposure to work in those health suites. So again, exposing them to school-based nursing, which is a different field within nursing and not always something that young people get exposure to. So those are the reasons why we wanted to put this program in place to kind of help us get better at providing services to young people. In terms of the getting paid by the city, we have been in conversation with the city about an MOU, putting an MOU in place for the services we provided last year and this year, and have not been able to get an agreed upon MOU yet. So we are still in conversation with them. We've communicated the amount that we need to be reimbursed for last year and this year, but we haven't been successful in getting paid for that. So given that we want these nursing partnerships with universities to get off the ground, we thought it was prudent to take resources out of our assigned fund balance through a supplemental appropriation to get them going while we continue to negotiate and have conversations with the city to get those funds reimbursed.
Thank you. I'm hoping, Mary Ann, go ahead.
Yes, just as a little bit of background, this supplemental appropriation would be funded from unassigned fund balance. At the end of FY 2023, city schools had $82.9 million in unassigned fund balance per note 10 of our audited financial statements. So this is a request to temporarily borrow until we reach resolution $5 million of that.
Thank you for that. For me, it's, thinking ahead.
Yes.
As and I appreciate the work that you all are doing in the attempt to, I see you, Commissioner Coy, in an attempt to, continue these services for our young people, because certainly we want them to continue. As we think ahead, I'm hoping that the MOU is, drafted, we develop a plan, because what we've heard multiple times tonight and what we know is that we're moving forward into FY25 without ESSER funds, I want us to be cautious of how we're allocating and using resources, because we do know that we're going to have to make some challenging decisions, and hopefully we get that MOU drafted and signed off on sooner rather than later, especially moving forward, because potentially we may need to use portions of that in other areas, especially as we're moving forward. Commissioner Coy?
Yeah, just one comment, because this did come through Operations Committee and an opportunity to ask some questions there. I just want to make sure that everyone's fully aware, both as other commissioners, but also members of the public, that those unassigned fund balances that are to be used are designed exactly for what your question is getting at, Commissioner McFadden, which is in situations in which there is a timing of this nature, like having a reserve of some of these funds available to allow for the operations to be uninterrupted, or continuity of operations, while some of these accounting processes and receipt of funds. So I just want to underscore that point, but I think what you are saying broadly needs to be said loud and clear, which is, as we are managing the details of this, we need to make sure that those that are committed to paying for this through, are doing so, that they're following through, because at the end of the day, the youth of Baltimore, our students, need to have these supports and these services, and so we're going to make sure that they have those. And to your point about the larger funding landscape, we need to make sure that we have the reserve to be able to do that. So I just want to underscore that allocation of these funds is exactly what the unassigned fund balance is intended for, is to be able to manage this, but we need to replenish those, because there will be other times in which we need to be able to bridge over between time periods. So, Mary Ann, if you want to clarify anything I'm saying, or Chief Perkins-Cohen, but just want to underscore that importance.
Commissioner
No,
Coy,
exactly.
I appreciate that, and I understand that. It was an agreement, though, that we came to. you
Yeah.
know, and it just becomes challenging for us to have to continue to weigh this burden alone. And so I appreciate you raising that, but we have to hopefully create that that signed MOU soon with the follow through and fidelity of all of that. It's important for our children. That's all. So thank you for
And this
that.
should be temporary. This should be a temporary solution. That is our hope. This is a temporary solution. This is not the permanent way to pay for this. So,
I'm hoping
yes.
so too, Commissioner Perkins Cohen. I mean, Chief Perkins Cohen. I hope so too. Thank you.
Thank
Any additional questions on this item? Commissioner Coy, just lower your hand. So unless you have another question. Got it. We also pulled item 18.01, Fragman, Del Rey, Burnson, and Lowry, LLP. Vice Chair Roberts.
Hi, Chief Nelson, how are you?
Hi, doing well, thanks. And although this is a procurement under the Office of the Chief Legal Counsel, it is a partnership with Human Capital, so I'll answer the questions. You had asked about how this is part of our strategy to fill especially high needs, hard to fill teaching positions. So international recruitment is one of our primary teacher recruitment strategies in addition to growing our own. And we had just slightly more internal promotions of paraprofessionals and substitutes last year than international teachers we hired. We do hire international teachers on two different types of visas, J1 visas, which are our cultural exchange, and H1B visas, which are for highly qualified technical professionals, including teachers. And Fragman is a law firm that specializes in international law and visas. And so we are requesting a contract with them to be able to sponsor more teachers on H-1B visas. City Schools hasn't had an H-1B program for at least a dozen plus years. This year we restarted it. So for the 23-24 school year, we hired about 20 teachers on H-1B visas. They cost about $5,000 each. We are looking to expand this to 60 teachers next year as we're recruiting in more countries in Africa and South America to bring teachers who reflect the cultural background of our students and community, and also to expand the cultural opportunities in our schools with bringing staff from different cultures. And so the H-1B visas will be dedicated to teachers in STEM, special education, and ESOL. So this is an important strategy in our teacher recruitment program for the year, and especially for us to be able to target experienced teachers who are coming with these areas of specialty. And the H-1B visas are good for 6 years, and at the end of that, we can choose to sponsor a teacher for permanent residency. And then in terms of the cost, so teacher recruitment has increased in expense as we're going further afield to find teachers. The two alternative certification programs that we work with, primarily Teach for America and the Baltimore City Teacher Residency, the cost that we pay to recruit, train, and develop those teachers is comparable to what we'd pay for an H-1B visa, but it would be, we'd pay the fee once for the hopefully 6 years of teaching that we would get before we would need to reapply again for permanent residency.
Thank you so much, Chief. This was helpful, especially from the financial perspective in comparison to other teacher preparation programs, and then our efforts to support our English language learners. I would also be interested in the areas of opportunity that your team is considering for. I know you spoke to scaling this effort for longer term consideration, but just areas of opportunity from lessons learned as we're in the 23-24 recruitment cycle on how we can just better improve the integration of this newer integration of recruitment within our hard to reach vacancies throughout the system.
So specifically in terms of international recruitment, we do want to make sure that we can improve our communication to candidates and to principals. We've had some challenges this year when we've had to switch J1 visa sponsors. We are actually pursuing J1 visa sponsorship ourselves from the U.S. Department of State so that we could cut out the middlemen, the visa sponsors, and the recruitment agencies that we've worked in the past to just do this work ourselves and be able to grant visas to teachers for J1s. We are also expanding our support for international teachers, making sure that they have a smooth arrival and that we can help them find housing and transportation to navigate. That's something that we were a little late in figuring out for this year. And then finally, thanks to our academics team, we're providing dedicated support to our new international teachers, acknowledging that they have different support needs than our other new to city schools teachers, many of whom are coming without teaching experience, but are from the local area often. And we know that we need to differentiate the academic support that we provide to teachers based on their background.
Thank you, Chief Nelson. That was helpful. Chair McFadden, that's it for my question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. I know Commissioner Lawson, I know that you had a question about it, but we're going to appreciate the Vice Chair on this for raising this, and hopefully your thoughts were kind of answered in that response. Is there any other question around any of the other? Thank you, Chief Nielsen. Any other items on the agenda, consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the remaining items on this evening's consent agenda?
So moved. Commissioner Sally?
Thank you, Commissioner Sally. Is there a second?
Second, Reed.
Second, Commissioner
Thank you,
Slater-Harris.
Commissioner Reed. All in favor? Vice Chair Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Coy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Muhammad?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Sally?
Yes.
Commissioner Slater-Harrington?
Yes.
And I'm in favor. That motion passes with 8 in favor and 1 absent. We want to now move into committee reports. The majority of our committees met between our last public board meeting and tonight's meeting. However, Commissioner Lawson, I would like to start with you, our student commissioner. Are there any updates from our student commissioner first? I'd like for you to start us off this evening.
Absolutely. So I got the chance to speak a little bit about the ribbon cutting ceremony for cross country, but I would just like to, restate that here. Cross country ribbon cutting ceremony was amazing for me. And I think it put a lot of things into perspective when it comes to the state of our schools and how we're pushing for success in city schools. So I got a chance to walk around the school. I got a chance to play with some of the new cool learning spaces. One of my favorite things actually were the community spaces where the school has chances to communicate across classrooms and bring in different content areas. Another thing I'd like to highlight was the music classroom. The new risers in the classroom was phenomenal. So I'd like to take the chance to share that here. I also would like to take the opportunity to shout out the students at the Charm City virtual program. I got a chance to speak with them directly, members of their student government directly about their concerns for the future. I think it's important that we always give space. And as their like elective official, I found it my responsibility to speak with them directly about any concerns that they may have, and kind of be that communication between students and central office. So special thank you to Jayla. She is the student body president for 3rd grade. Kaylin, she's the class president for 3rd grade. Brandon, he's a vice president candidate, and of course, their advisor, Ms. Danielle. Thank you so much. And lastly, tonight, I would like to highlight the school visit that I had today at Augusta Fell Savage Institute of Visual Arts and Bluford Jemison STEM Academy West. Thank you to all of their students for sharing new ideas with me and new things that I've never thought about surrounding climate and culture in school, how to improve attendance, and how to get students motivated to learn. And I would like to give another shout out to their dedicated principals. I got to see the ins and out and the operations behind schools and what it takes to actually be a school leader. So shout out Principal Wilson and Principal Carnes for their hard work and their team at their respective schools. And that will conclude my student commissioner remarks for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Lawson. Commissioner Vice Chair Roberts, Operations Committee met. We can hear you.
I had to make sure I was unmuted. So yes, the Operations Committee met on December the 19th, and we received the overviews for the 2 items that were on tonight's agenda. Item number 9.02, supplemental appropriation university partners, as well as item 9.03, supplemental appropriation renovation project at district office. We reviewed both of those items tonight, and they were passed. Additionally, we reviewed compliance reports for policy JFD, student enrollment, and for policy DIG, which focuses on the district's fund budget. And finally, we received a presentation on school food services, and that was a great discussion led by Liz Marchetta. And she was able to highlight various efforts that are underway, and highlighting our efforts to provide over 12 million meals over the last school year, procuring locally sourced ingredients for the students, and also lifting the evolving farm to school programming. Commissioner Mohammed, Commissioner Coy, was there anything that you wanted to lift for the review of Operations Committee items?
None on my end. Thank you.
No, just the point I made earlier for the benefit of the public around some of those funds.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Chair McFadden.
Welcome, Commissioner Slater Harrington, Teaching and Learning Committee.
Good evening. Oh, I just lost it. Okay. The Teaching and Learning Committee met on Tuesday, January 2nd. Chair McFadden and Commissioners Kenyatta Bay and myself were in attendance. Commissioners received an update on summer and extended learning. Highlights from the presentation included last summer's programming of expanded offerings. Programming was well received with 21,000 seats being filled. Over 9,000 courses were taken in the summer learning program, and there were over 400 summer graduates. Planning is underway for this summer, and considerations are being made for the impacts student learning, attendance, and enrollment. Programming considerations are also being made for programming that include staff and support for students with disabilities. And future summers with the anticipated end of ESSER funding. Commissioners also received a compliance report on gifted and advanced learning. Some highlights from that presentation included a fantastic increase of formally identified students, growing from 5,891 students last year to 6,706 students this year. That's excellent growth. An overview of the assessment process was given, as well as we learn more about the services and supports for students and a suite of professional learning opportunities for gifted and advanced learning program staff. Chair or Commissioner Bay, if you have anything to add, please do so.
None for me.
Thank you for that report, Commissioner Sada Harrington. Commissioner Muhammad, the Safety and Wholeness Committee met on December 21st. Do you have any updates or report from that meeting?
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. The committee had the opportunity to receive updates on the current state of school safety for our students. We also received an update and reviewed youth-related collaborations and conversations that the district is having along with our city and state partners around both school and community safety, but particularly those around improving the life expectancies of young people within our city as a whole. We were able to start our work, and I'm excited to talk about the possibility of developing an eco-map. Eco-map indicating the areas of success around the partnerships we have that we're providing to our students and what students are actually receiving those supports, what that looks like. And when we find gaps, and there are students that, particularly when we look at attendance, if there are students that are not meeting attendance requirements, how do we look at those areas of success with regards to what students are participating in to ensure that those students that need it the most are connected to the resources that our school and our district has to be able to support those students. So we're looking forward to next month being able to present that in a public meeting, and thank you for all of the support of the Safety and Wholeness Committee.
Thank you for that, and thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Muhammad. I know that Commissioner Esposito had to step away, but Commissioner Lawson, Commissioner Sally, can you all chime in and just give us a brief update on how the policy committee meeting went?
Yep, absolutely. I can start and Commissioner Lawson can fill in. Our last meeting was December 19th, where we had an opportunity to review 3 specific policies. So policy ICA related to changes to the school calendar, and the board policy seeks to align with changes to Maryland law regarding the number of hours schools must be open for instructions in days and months, requiring appropriate exercises. In addition, it incorporates a board rule and provides additional clarity and components of the school calendar. We can expect to see that come, I'm so sorry, for first reader on February 13th, 2024. Our second policy was related to specifically to policy IKA and IKARA that looks at ways and opportunities to strengthen our grading policy and the board's responsibilities to ensure that both our schools have the autonomy to ensure that grading is happening in their schools as aligned with board policy, and having the autonomy to carry those functions out, as well as providing guardrails and safeguards for all of our scholars. That will be coming to first reader on not until April 2023. This does have a little bit longer window to review here in city schools, as well as to collect additional feedback from our schools and other stakeholders that are involved. Our third policy review was policy DJA, which looks at procurement authority and changes that align in board policy to Maryland state law, specifically related to the threshold, the dollar threshold for review at certain tiers. This particular policy will be headed for first reader on, excuse me, I apologize for that information. This will be on our January 23rd board meeting. So those are the three. Commissioner Lawson, I'll turn it over to you in case I left anything out that's important to look up this evening.
No, you pretty much got everything, Commissioner Sally. I did want to highlight that our next meeting is January 16th, where we will be discussing EDF, wellness and nutrition, JBA, non-discrimination students, JBB, sex-based discrimination students, JICK, bullying and harassment, and GBEBB, staff conduct for students.
And as always, we do welcome the public involvement in our meetings, as well as public comment as well. So thank you so much. Turn it back over to you, Chair McFadden.
Thank you, Policy Committee, and that goes for all of our committee meetings. Members of the public can attend and can sign up for public comment. Should you have any questions about that type of engagement, please reach out to our school board office. Certainly, you can email the school board office at schoolboard@bcps.k12.md.us. Again, a notice of our upcoming meetings, as the Vice Chair mentioned earlier this evening. We have our COMAR session 2 as a part of our portfolio review on Thursday, January 11th. Operations Committee will meet on January 16th at 10:30. Policy Committee, as Commissioner Lawson just mentioned, that same day at 4 o'clock. Safety and Wholeness will meet on Thursday, January 18th from 4 to 5 p.m. And the next executive board meeting and public board meeting. These will be virtual meetings. These will be virtual meetings on Tuesday, January 23rd, as there is some work happening and being done in our headquarters building. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Sally.
Thank you, Commissioner Sally. Is there a second?
Second, Kenyatta Bay.
Let's pause for one moment. I know that there's a motion on the floor, but it is National School Board Appreciation Month, and to each and every one of my board colleagues, if you're able to come on screen, could you do that for me, please? Could you all just come on screen, show your faces? It is such a thankless job. You know, we are volunteers and we put in work because we believe in our children. We believe in this city. And I just want to take a moment as a colleague to my board colleagues to certainly thank you for everything that you do, for the meetings that you attend, for showing up in our communities while raising your children, while working every day, while fitting in visits on your schedule, while having to deal with negative press and naysaying, right? It is all balanced though, and it's a part of the job and it's a part of the work. And as we continue to do this work together, I'm grateful and thankful for each and every one of you, for all of your skills, for all of your gifts, for all of your talents, for the balanced perspectives that we are all able to bring together. Just want to take a moment to say thank you. If I were rich and wealthy, each one of you would be getting checks in the mail, but I'll leave that up to my other commissioners who may be able to do that. I just want to say thank you to each of you. Certainly it is a thankless job, but we do it because we believe in our children, and certainly we want our future to be brighter than it is today. So thank you to our school board members, to this illustrious school board. It is unlike any other school board, and we'll continue to make strides for the sake of our young people and prove all of the naysayers wrong because of our commitment to our young people and to this city and to this system. So thank each and every one of you. Now back to that motion.
McFadden, you're so classy. Thank you for your leadership.
Appreciate each of you. There is a motion on the floor. It has been motioned and seconded All in favor, just please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned this evening. Have a great evening, everyone. Please stay safe. And as a reminder, City Schools is delayed tomorrow morning. We received that information and families received it by 2 hours. So please be safe in your travels. And we will see you hopefully on Thursday at that Comar hearing. Take care, everyone.
Aye.